Hey, my friend, this is Joe Bakhmoutski, author of Simplify Cancer, Man's Guide to Navigating the Everyday Reality of Cancer. And right now, I want to reveal the truth about why men won't open up about cancer. Because there's this huge myth. There's this huge myth in our culture that men cannot talk about things that are personal because of our masculine things or whatever else that gets in the way. And I gotta say to you, that is simply not true. Now, there was a time when that was true. 30 years ago, certainly, probably 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. But it certainly is not true today. Right? I gotta tell you, I went through cancer myself, and I've spoken to through my Simplified Cancer podcast, through my treatment, through forums, through going to conferences. I've spoken to hundreds of men who's been through cancer. I've spoken to men who had prostate cancer. I've spoken to men who had testicular cancer. I've even spoken to men who had breast cancer. All sorts of cancers, all sorts of stages, all sorts of men, right? Younger men, older folks, everyone in between, people in Australia, in the United States, in Europe, from all walks of life. And I've also spoken to, counselors and psychologists and just people who work with cancer. And one thing I've discovered consistently is that us men, we have no problem opening up and talking about things that are personal just with people we trust, right? So that is not the problem. The real problem is that us men have a hard time making sense of cancer, right? Because it's just so huge. It just changes your life in such a huge way. All of a sudden, you're just asking yourself, is this thing for real? Am I going to die? Is this all there is, right? You're faced with all these epic questions, right? And not only that, you've got your everyday life to worry about, right? You still gotta pay the bills, you gotta look after your family, and then you gotta worry about treatment, and you gotta make potential decisions about treatment, potentially life and death decisions over things that you don't even understand. Like, that's a lot to deal with. And that's why we have trouble opening up about all of that. And we have trouble talking about it. Because first of all, as a man, we're used to trying to just make sense of things. We gotta process it, we gotta deal with it internally before we can ever bring it out loud, before we can really speak up about it, before we can open up about it to people we care about, our friends, our family, people we work with. But that is so hard to do when you're dealing with something as big and as scary as cancer, right? Because the reality is that cancer will never be fair, just, or make sense, right? It's just so crazy. It's just, cancer is a force of nature. And I think this is something that we all need to wrap our hands around. And it took me a long time to get used to this thought that none of this was my fault. It just happened. It's a force of nature that just comes into your life and just changes everything around. And now it's up to us to deal with it. And now that it's here, the best thing that we can do is accept it. Accept that it's here. And when you accept it, now you can start to deal with it on your terms. When you accept a situation, it's a sign of strength. It means that you are now ready to take back control of your life. You're ready to take charge of your life. And that means getting all the support that you can get. And all the support starts with opening up about things that you care about and how your people can help you. So there's really two ways that you can get the support that you want on your terms. I think the reality is, my friend, that whether you've got cancer or whether maybe it's someone that you care about who has cancer, the reality is that when you have cancer, the people around you, your friends, your family, people you work with, they want to be there for you. They want to help you. They want to help you in a meaningful way, right? They really want to be there for you, but they don't know how. So it's up to you to really guide them, to make sure that they're there for you on your terms and that they can support you in a meaningful ways. And so the two ways I want to share with you right now that you can do that is, first of all, without being having any drama or being weird or setting this up in any big way, because that's kind of what we think about when we talk about support. It has to be some sort of grand gestures or epic revelations or some teary-eyed confessions, right? That's the sort of things that we think about, right? That's the sort of things that we've been conditioned by the media. But the reality is so much different, right? The reality is that it's all about just being transparent and direct and just blunt about when people ask you where you're at. You know, when you catch up with someone and they say, "Hey, how are you?" You can just be straight up honest about where you're at and what's bothering you right now. I can't tell you the relief that I personally had. When I started to just be so blunt about where I was at. I remember that when I caught up with a friend, and when he asked me, "Hey, how's it going?" Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm fine," I actually said, "Hey, you know what? I've got this, scan result coming up next week, and that's going to tell me whether this whole, cancer treatment has worked or not." And I'm really freaking out because this can change my life in a huge way. And just saying that out loud, without any kind of drama, it's just a normal conversation that just changed things around in such a huge way. Because all of a sudden there was no awkward moments, right? Because my friend didn't have to think, well, what is the right thing to say and what is the right thing to do, right? Because your people don't want to make you feel any worse, right? So that's what makes it awkward. But when you just come out with it without any drama or being weird, when you just talk about things that bother you, things that just really just get to you, and you just talk about it in a really natural way, all of a sudden you just feel such a relief, right? Because you got things off your chest, right? That's one thing. But also all of a sudden, you're giving your friend, your partner, your family member, you're giving them permission to just have a real conversation with you. And all of a sudden, you're just having a real, authentic conversation about something that is important to you right now with a person that you genuinely care about and the person that genuinely cares about you. So this is huge, just being straight up and direct and transparent about where you're at. That's number one. The other way you can get support that you want in your life is to spell out the practical ways that people can help you. And this is huge. And I wish I've done that. I wish I've done that when I was going through cancer, because that was just made things so much easier. And I think the best way to do this is to do this over email, right? Because this allows you, first of all, to communicate to a whole bunch of people. It allows you to kind of think about what you want to say. And also it allows you, to give a list of things that you actually need help with. And also it allows your friends, your family, people you work with, whoever that is, it allows them, to raise their hand and to volunteer for things that they actually want to do, right? So it's a win-win situation, right? So an example of an email that I would write if I was to do it all over again, I hope I never do, but if I was to do it all over again, this is what I would say in an email. Hi, as you know, I've been, diagnosed with testicular cancer. I've had an operation and I'm starting chemotherapy on this and this date. I will be staying at this and this hospital. I really hope you can come and visit me. That would be great. And look, life is going to get pretty crazy, and we would love your help with any of those things. Babysitting, driving me to and from the hospital, doing groceries once a week, and whatever else you need help with, right? And then I would say, if you feel like helping out with any of that, that would be great. Just hit reply and let me know, right? This makes it so much easier, right? Because you really spell it out. You really make it easy for people to say, yeah, I can do that. Or no, I don't want to do that. I'll rather do this, right? It makes it so easy. And the truth is that the people who genuinely care about you, the people who truly love you as a friend, as a, as a family member, as just someone who is important in their life, the people will be forever grateful because you've just made it so easy for them to support you. So these are the really two best ways that I know into how people can really support you on your terms. Right? Because when you realize that cancer is a force of nature that just explodes into your life, the best way to deal with it is to accept it and to really just communicate about where you're at in a blunt and direct way without really thinking about it, without any drama or being weird. And your people will love you for it because you've just made it easy for them to support you and they don't have to second guess where you're at. My friend, I really want to thank you for watching this video. I really want to thank you for really taking back control of your life during cancer because that's what it's all about, right? Because when you are proactive and looking after your health, when you are proactive into thinking about where you're at and how you're dealing with cancer and how you deal with the craziness, with the overwhelm, you put yourself in the best possible position to get through it and have the life that you want. Have the life that you truly deserve despite cancer. Because the reality is that no one is as invested in your own happiness as you are yourself. You are responsible for your way of life. Even when things get crazy, even when you've got cancer exploding into your life, I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm here for you. And if you ever want to talk to me, just shoot me an email. It's joe@simplifycancer.com. That's joe@simplifycancer.com. Once again, this is Joe Bakhmoutski here to help you simplify cancer. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.